Discover the tips and strategies that will help you achieve your retirement goals. I'm your host, James Conole, and this is the podcast dedicated to helping you retire well. It all starts right here on Ready for Retirement. Hey everyone, and welcome to the initial episode of the Ready for Retirement podcast. I'm your host, James Conole, and I'm really excited to begin this new podcast. Before I go into an overview of who this show is for and what you can expect from it, I want to start by just saying thank you. Thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day for being here. I think that this is going to be a very valuable podcast, and I thank you for being here and for listening in to this first episode. So I appreciate you taking that time, and I want to briefly go over what is this show about, who's it for, a little bit about who am I, so you have an understanding of what we're going to be talking about on this podcast. So to start, let's talk about who this show is for. This show is specifically designed for people who are a few years out from retirement or already retired. Other podcasts, including another one that I host, they're very broad in their scope. That's great. There's a lot that you can talk about, but it limits your ability to go very deep on any one specific issue. This podcast is designed to go deep. It's designed to look at many different topics, but it's designed to explore them in depth, to give you real practical, tangible things that you can do as you prepare for retirement, or if you're already in retirement, to maybe improve what you're already doing. So it's specifically designed for those of you who are, as I mentioned, a few years out or already in retirement and wanting to make sure that you're doing everything you can to either prepare for that next season in your life or to improve your retirement as it stands today. So we'll talk about investments, we'll talk about taxes, we'll talk about Social Security, Medicare, insurance, estate planning, income planning, you name it. All of that, those are all topics we're going to cover. But we're going to cover them specifically from the perspective of someone who's about to or already in retirement. So if you're just starting, if you're looking to figure out how to invest or some basic things, great. More power to you. I wish you the best of luck, but this podcast may not be very practical for where you are today. Check back in 20, 30 years, and assuming these topics are still relevant, it will be here for you then. But otherwise, this podcast is designed to go in depth on retirement topics. Now, who am I? I'm James Conole, and I'm very excited for this podcast because of a few things. Number one, I fell in love with working with people to help them retire comfortably. That's what I do for my day job. I'm a certified financial planner. I'm the founder of Root Financial Partners. We're a wealth management firm in Solana Beach, which is in North County, San Diego, and we're working with clients who are typically a few years out from retirement. And as I'm helping people who are in a few years of retirement, we're helping them to navigate that transition so they can be confident they've made the right decisions. So why I'm so excited about this podcast is I get to take the experience I have, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work, seeing the unique things that are applicable to you today, and I get to share those with you. So this podcast, I'll tell stories, I'll talk about things that have worked or haven't worked with clients. Of course, I'll never actually use any client names, but certain things that we do, I get to bring those tips and those strategies and those resources to you here as a listener. So that's who I am. My goal on this podcast is not to talk about me. My goal is to talk about things that can help you, but it is helpful to know a little bit about where I'm coming from so that you can see why this might matter for you. So what can you expect? This will be a weekly episode or a weekly podcast, meaning every single week a new episode will be released, and it will probably be about 20 to 30 minutes. As I'm outlining this, it looks like each episode will probably be in that range, but I want that to be the most valuable 20 to 30 minutes educational material that you're going to find anywhere when it comes to retirement planning. So it's going to be practical things. It's going to be tangible things. It's not just going to be things you could type into Google and get answers there. It's going to be very in-depth, and it's going to be things that you can use and put into practice to help you. Because part of success in retirement isn't just having the answers to questions, but it's knowing what questions to even ask on the front end. So those are some of the things that I hope to bring to you through this podcast. It'll be educational. There'll be resources that will help you successfully make what will be one of the biggest decisions you've ever made. And a decision that really should only be made once if you do it right. And that decision, of course, is retirement. So as I spoke about, this podcast will talk about things like investments, like taxes, like Social Security, insurance, etc. And there will be a section on, I'm actually going to have a website for this podcast that I'll talk about in the show notes. On that website, feel free to go and submit your own question. I'd be happy to hear what you have to say and address your question on this show. Again, this is about you. This isn't about me. So feel free to go to the website, which is readyforretirement.co. That's readyforretirement.co, and submit your own question there. Otherwise, I'm going to be bringing episodes to you that I think will be helpful based upon my past experience of working with people over the course of my career. So with that, I'm so excited to share some of the tips or the strategies or the education that I've seen bring so much peace of mind and confidence to my clients, and I'm very eager to share that with you here. Now, I mentioned that I'll be releasing a new episode each week, but I wanted a quick win for today. This is just the intro episode. This is a little bit about who I am, who this podcast is for, and what we'll be covering. But this being the first week, I wanted to give you an immediate quick win. And so what I'm also doing is I'm releasing 2 additional episodes in addition to this one, so 3 total, so that as you're listening to this, if you're curious at all, you can go ahead and listen to those other episodes. And as you're doing so, see how helpful it is. I would love if you would subscribe to the show. Again, you'll have a new episode every week that you can listen to. And those first 2 episodes in addition to this are up now. So if you're listening now, do me a favor, whether it's iTunes or Spotify or Google Play, wherever you're listening, hit subscribe. By subscribing to the show, you'll be notified anytime that a new episode comes out, and those episodes are going to be jam-packed with value, I promise you that. So very much looking forward to this podcast. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.